Freshman year of system engineering, so many expectations, doubts, anxiety, and the hope that this career will be the right path to build the best possible future. When I started my first year of engineering, I knew I was taking a huge step. I felt proud knowing that at least I wouldn't be left wondering what if I had tried. I expected a challenge, and I knew I had to give my all. Some classes were tough, others were more manageable, but one thing is certain, no matter what the subject is, if you're in college, you're probably not sleeping well. Hi guys, how it's going? I am Terra. Welcome back to Bit a Bit. Like I mentioned it in the last video, today I'll share my experience from my first year of system engineering, what classes I took, which ones were the hardest, and some advice I wish some had given me when I had started college. The first semester is mostly about adaptation, shifting from high school study habits to college level learning. In my case, I went to technical high school, so I had already seen some of these topics before. That gave me a slight advantage, but since I had graduated 6 years earlier, I was definitely rusty. The good news, all my classes started at an accessible level, so whether you are fresh out of high school or haven't touched the textbooks in years, you can keep up if you put in the effort. But make no mistake, every subject requires dedication, or else it will catch up with you later. Here's what I had. At first, I thought this would be super difficult, but we start with the basics: numbers, equations, functions, complex numbers, conic sections, etc. The hardest, or maybe just the most annoying part, was memorizing all the formulas and studying the theory. Speaking of theory, I have to say it's a great tool for understanding math and applying it, but don't fully agree with memorizing formulas. I mean, why memorize something you can just look up? It's way more important to understand why and when to use a formula rather than just memorizing it. These classes focused on different number systems, mainly binary but also hexadecimals and others. The part I found most interesting was learning about von Neumann's architecture. It was mostly theoretical and gave us a solid foundation in how computers actually work. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of hardware, but I still found it fascinating. Without a doubt, my favorite class of the semester. This was where we actually start coding. We used C and got a solid intro to both theory and practice of structured programming. We covered loops, conditionals, and then suffered, because let's be real, there's always suffering in programming. When we got to pointers. One big piece of advice: if you're planning to study anything related to programming, start learning on your own beforehand. College moves fast, and some concepts take time to sink in. If you already understand basic programming logic, this class will be much easier. Not saying it's impossible otherwise, but trust me, it's a huge advantage. Don't ignore this advice. At first, I didn't really get why we had this class. And when we finished, I thought, why did we have this class? Jokes aside, it was actually pretty interesting. It forced us to step outside the typical engineering mindset and look at things from a broader perspective. The goal was to help us see ourselves as future professionals and understand how our decisions impact society. It felt different from everything else, but honestly, it was refreshing. We had this subject for 2 years, but to be honest, it didn't really help. If you want to truly learn a language, don't rely on what your college teaches you. I highly recommend taking private lessons or studying on your own. It's worth investing in yourself. This is when things got more interesting, or in other words, when we slept even less. By this point, we had adapted to the college routine, so time management was a little easier, but as expected, the difficulty ramped up. Basically, we took von Neumann's architecture and went way deeper. By the end of the semester, we all considered getting his face tattooed. This time, we focused more on the individual components of a computer's architecture. It wasn't the hardest class, but you definitely needed to pay attention. This is one of those subjects you cannot ignore. Every class is an intellectual battle. You can't fall asleep, miss a class, or show up late. If you do, you're going to suffer. We cover limits, derivatives, and integrals. It was brutal, but pacing this class felt amazing. That said, it required a lot of dedication. No joke, I didn't sleep. I started hearing voices. I think it was von Neumann talking to me. This was basically a continuation of current world issues, but this time we learned how to properly conduct research and write academic papers. For my project, I studied technological conception across different age groups using a Google Form survey. The results were pretty predictable, but it was interesting to see everything laid out in a well-structured report. This was a continuation of introductions to algorithms, but now we switch to C# and start using Windows Forms for basic key development. We work with linked lists, stacks, queues, and trees, much more complex topics. Again, my favorite class, but definitely one that requires a lot of practice. First year gradually got harder, but it was also incredibly rewarding. You don't need to be a genius. The key is discipline and dedication. Believe in yourself, put in the effort, visualize your future, and give it your best shot. And remember, you're not alone. Some of us have been through this, and trust me, you can do it. If you're about to start college, I hope my experience helps. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you're also sleep deprived because of school, drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe so we can grow this community together. See you in the next video, and bye nerds!